How you doing? Hey, this is Glenn with V-Power Equipment, and today we are going to be doing an install of our 2-inch water pump on an engine. We're going to be doing an engine alone today. We're going to be using this Briggs & Stratton CR 950 as our engine today. This pump basically is designed, you can replace an existing water pump if you have like maybe a Predator 2-inch water pump or something similar, or you can also do what we're going to do here and just put it on a standalone engine and turn that engine into a water pump. Now I gotta say, if you have a water pump that you're replacing the housing on, you do want to check. First thing you want to check is the shaft on that engine. Water pumps use two different types of shafts. This kit is designed to be on a 3/4 inch key weight shaft. Some water pumps use a external thread on the shaft, and the impeller actually threads onto that shaft, and this won't work there. So you want to check first, make sure that you do have a 3/4 inch key weight shaft. Same thing goes with the engine. This Briggs & Stratton CR 950 is a 3/4 inch key weight shaft. The shaft lengths are pretty standard. I think it's 2 1/4 or 2 1/2, and that's pretty standard. But they do need to be 3/4 key weight shafts. So we could use this Briggs. You can use a Predator 212. You can also use, we have a new engine coming out in the first quarter of 2022, a Viking 225, and that engine also would be able to accept this. So there's a lot of engines you can use it on. The 3/4 inch key weight shaft is a pretty standard on these engines that are running right around 7 horsepower. So let me show you what's involved in the kit here. So over here, let me just move the camera. So I also want to point out, if you do decide to do this and you go to our website, make sure you buy the kit, because we sell this piece here by itself, and the picture on the website will just show this piece here. You don't want that unless you're just replacing the housing, because obviously it doesn't come with everything else. So the picture that you on the website will show all the components. Make sure you buy that so you get the complete kit. So the kit's going to come with basically the backing plate. It's going to come with this, which is called a volute, or it's the whirl. Sometimes people call it a whirl cage. It's going to come with the impeller, the housing, obviously, an O-ring. It's going to also come with the collars to put on this after to connect your hose to, and a strainer basket and a couple of clamps. So the kit is fairly complete. I'm just going to move this camera back out again so we can look at this. Give me a second. So the kit is fairly complete, but I do have to tell you, if you're going to be converting an engine, there are a few things you may need outside of the kit. The simple things, but you will need them to install the kit. Basically, the kit comes with these bolts to attach the backing plate to the engine. The problem is not all engines use the same bolts. I'm not sure what the thread on this one is, but it is a metric thread, I believe. This Briggs & Stratton did not use that. It used a 5/16 by 24 thread. So we did have to acquire bolts for that. So we acquired 4 of these bolts. They're 2.5 inches long. Again, these were 5/16 by 24 thread. So we needed to acquire them separately. We also needed to acquire the center bolt. Again, this is not provided because engines are different. Some use metric, some don't. This was also a 5/16 by 24 thread, so we needed to acquire that. And while most engines will come with a keyway, you need to make sure you have a keyway. So we've also got a keyway here that we acquired to do this job. So we've added the 5 bolts and 1 keyway to the kit to make the job complete. So basically, it's a pretty straightforward task. Okay, so we got the camera in a little closer. I think we can see the engine a little better now. There we go. All right, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to attach this backing plate. We're going to want to look in here. This seal, just make sure it's pushed all the way in. It generally is, but just make sure that that's seated all the way in. It's just pushed into place. Then we're going to take the 4 bolts that we acquired. We got one. And we're going to take these plastic washers that were on the bolts that came with the kit and take them off. Set these bolts back, because we're not going to use them because again they have the wrong thread. So we're going to put them back, and we're going to put these plastic washers on our new bolts. There we go. And now we're going to attach this backing plate to the engine. recommend starting it by hand first so we don't get no cross threading going on there. Tighten them all down. There we go. We don't want to over tighten these because the plastic washers, we want to kind of squish them in place, but we don't want to tear them apart. So we just want to tighten it just enough. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do now is we're going to install the impeller. But we need to put this keyway in here first. So we're going to put that on there, and we're going to put this on that keyway, making sure we line it all up. Oh, I see what's going to happen. We're going to have to pop the seal out first. Oh, maybe we put the keyway in there first. Yeah, we're going to do that. So we're going to put the keyway in the impeller in this particular case because it was hitting the seal. If your keyway is longer than this keyway and you can't set it in there, then you would have to remove this little seal. Again, it's just pressed in, and then put the keyway in. And we drop the keyway. I'm also going to rotate this engine. We want to pull the spark plug wire off this engine because we are going to be rotating it. So we're going to pull the plug wire off, and then we're going to rotate this so that that's at the bottom. And we're going to put this in there like this, and line that up. Okay, so now we've got the impeller lined up, keyway's in. We're going to put the bolt in the center. Now you're going to notice this impeller is spring loaded. It's spring loaded against that seal, because these seals, they don't work like an oil seal. They don't seal around the shaft of the engine. They seal to the back of the impeller. So as you tighten the impeller, you're basically pushing that spring loaded seal in the back down, and that's what's going to make the seal. And that's why it's extremely important that you never run these pumps without water, because the water is what lubricates that seal, and if you run them without water, you'll destroy that back seal quite quickly. So the next thing we're going to do now is we're going to take this housing, and we're going to take the volute, and the housing has a notch in it, and it also has a rubber O-ring on the inside of it. You can see that there. And so we're going to put this in here, set it into that housing, and make sure that little notch lines up. We're then going to take this rubber O-ring, and we're going to put it in the slot around the edge. I wish that phone would stop ringing. There we go. Okay. Now we'll push out. Turns out part of the job is get the seal set in place. Let's tilt this engine up. Come on, seal. There we go. Alright. Now we have the seal in place. We're going to take the housing. We're going to put it on. Making sure that we get over the top of that, into that seal. Couple of these bolts started. tighten it up. We'll just snug it up so it doesn't go anywhere. Okay, the 2 bolts in. Alright, and we probably want to use a wrench for this one because now we want to kind of go around because we're basically taking the housing and getting it to sit in place. So rather than using the impact wrench and being too aggressive, we'll just kind of go around it. Tighten a little of this one. And that one. And that one. And that one. And again, we don't need to over tighten these things. This is an aluminum housing. We don't need to go crazy with this. Just need to kind of seat up against that O-ring. And there we have it. And so now you can pull the engine just to make sure that we ain't getting no rubbing going on, which we don't. It means the impeller's moving nice and freely in the housing there. And that is basically the install of this. So these extra components, these are basically so you can slip your hose on there. You would put your coupling in there like that. You would put the flat O-ring on there and spin that on. And then you got a hose bob, same thing for the front one. This here is just a strainer basket, pops in together, and you would basically use this on the end of the hose that you're going to drop into the water to keep large debris from getting into the pump and damaging it. These are simple clamps for the hose, and that is basically the kit for this engine. So that is the install of this. So I mean, I'm going to talk a little bit about some future things that are happening here at V-Power Equipment, but as far as the water pump, that is the install of the water pump. So basically what I wanted to talk about a little bit is what we talked about, what I mentioned earlier, is the new Viking engine. So we are going to be introducing a new line of engine called Viking Power Equipment. Right now we're in December of 2020. This is going to happen in the first quarter of 2022. It's quite interesting. I've seen the specs on these engines. They're pretty impressive. The engine that's in this size range is actually 223 cc's. This engine is only 208. I know there's a 212 out there. I'm not aware of anyone else putting out a 223, but this is going to be a 223 cc. Plus it's going to have a lot of other features that are going to make it probably the most powerful engine in its class. And it also comes standard with some features that you can't even get on engines. Like one thing, both engines that we're going to introduce are electric start. The other engine is going to be a 456 cc, and it also has some innovative ideas. Both engines are built a little more robust than some of these other engines that are on the market today to stand up a little higher. They're also designed to be producing more power, and the 460 cc is definitely also like that. Most of the engines in its category are a 420 cc, so it's substantially bigger at 456. And again, it is built a little more robust than some of these competing engines. So that's about all I can let out for now, but I will talk to you early in 2022 when they are introduced. And I think they're pretty impressive. You might want to check them out. Thank you for watching and have a good day.